Hey guys, n8n is a pretty cool, a low-code, possibly no-code tool, depending on what you want to do, if you want to do some automation. And although it's possible to use their site and their plans, you can also run it locally or host it yourself. And because the project is open source and also has 56,000 stars. So I have a project here running a localhost, but let's just very quickly go over how you get here. Well, if you're living in the Stone Age, then I guess you need to install Node.js. It depends on your system, but this should be pretty easy. So just follow the install instructions. If you do have it, then we need to install n8n globally. This is using the command line. So on Linux, for example, you would need to add it in the terminal, and once you did, you just need to run it. You don't even have to type start. You can just say n8n, and that's gonna run it. And it's running on port 5678, which is the one I have over here. And you will be also prompted to create an account, which will allow you to save your work flow, work projects, and also persist your credentials, because currently everything is working here, but only because I've already set my credentials here. So I linked the YouTube account, Google Sheets, and the Gemini API. And once you do, you don't have to reset it for every single project. You can just reuse it. So to suppose get access to the YouTube API and Google Sheets API, we will need to make Google Cloud project, within which we can search for the desired APIs we want to use. Over here. Obviously, I already turned mine on, so we only have manage here. But I'm just kind of showing the process here, and the YouTube API would be, again, the only thing we need. Apart from that, we only need to make credentials. I guess we can make an extra one here just to show the process. Pretty much all we need to do is make it a web app. It can be called whatever. And the authorized redirect URL, assuming we're gonna use the base, well, the default URL, then it's gonna be this. And we will be getting rid of that. So that should do it. And we will give in a client secret. And all we would need to do, aside from this, right? We get a client secret. I'll be deleting this. And aside from this, we would need to make sure that we are not in testing mode. So we're gonna make it public. And in Gemini AI Studio, again, you would need to log in, get your API key, and actually you can link your API key to the project you've made. So we can create an API key. And we can link it to the n8n, right? Create API key in the existing project. This is gonna be a new one. Keep in mind that these keys might take a little bit of time to activate. And when you're setting up the credentials, you would need to select it, Google Sheets account, but you don't need to reselect it if you've already done so. So suppose create new credentials would look like this, and this is where you would get the OAuth redirect URL, and you would need to just use the base URL. And this is where you need to paste in your client ID and client secret. And for the Gemini API, you don't even need, well, you just need the API key. So close. Obviously, we will be using the one we already have. But finally, about this project and what n8n really is. It allows us to make all kind of automations, really. You can almost think of it like as a visual coder. You can just code by dragging boxes around. Now, personally speaking, I think you might need to be comfortable with technology, at least with spreadsheets, to comfortably use it. But I don't think you need coding. The only coding that I have in this project that I'm currently not using, although it's in the chain, was technically written by AI, although I could have written it myself. But how does this project work? So I have a spreadsheet with various channels right? I have a link to them and also have their unique channel ID. Usually, getting this is a pain in the ass, right? You would need to, well, assuming it's your channel, then you can just look at it. So that's not a problem. But assuming it's not your channel, then either you would need to rely on some third-party site, or you would need to search with YouTube API and try to get their correct channel ID. An alternative way to do it, which is what we're using, is that we get these rows. I guess we can test this step. And we're gonna see the example output. And if we don't have the unique channel ID, which I do have now, then we are making an HTTP request with their link, and then we look into the HTML. So if you really don't know what's up, then HTML would be, we can just open up how this page kind of looks to computers. That's where we open up. And this is where we can actually find the unique channel ID in the HTML, kind of buried. This might not be always the case with in other projects, but this is just something that applies to this situation. And also, I didn't even know this myself, but this was just kind of a guidance that I was given by AI, but of course, I kind of had to write this automation. So this allows us to get the unique channel ID. And I'm not getting it myself, but telling AI to get it for me. So I'm demonstrating. We have the page over here of, well, it could be their channel or just one of their video. And then we have their page source. And in the page source, we are looking for the channel ID. This is what I'm telling AI to find and give to me. There is no coding here. I'm just getting rows. If there is no channel ID, then we get the page source, what we are looking at here, and telling AI to find the channel ID in the page source. These are the instructions. Find the channel ID in the JSON data and only return the channel ID in the response, right? Now, in this case, it dumped it out in a neat little list, so I didn't need any more automation, but I could have automated to also ultimately put it into the spreadsheet. Yet, why are we getting this channel ID? It is because we want to get their videos, right? And for that, we need to get the channel ID. So we actually kind of had to work back. This is where kind of where I started. And we get... let me demonstrate. So we are getting the information from the spreadsheet. And we're going to be working with this information, looping over every single item. This is just default. I haven't changed it. And we also have a 1 month before. So this is kind of a filter for it. But currently I'm not using it, right? So you can put things in chain that and not use them. I guess, I suppose normally you wouldn't. And kind of I intend to use it, but it's kind of a better demonstration that I currently don't. So we get many videos. We're using the YouTube account, right, that we set up before. Videos, and we're using the channel idea that we are getting and using it from the loop, I guess. Yeah, it was great because you would need to run it first. So now we can see that we are getting Google Sheets, get rows 1, item, and JSON unique channel idea. Right, we're using that. You would need to execute the previous nodes to see the input, I suppose. But this kind of sucks. A little bit sucks because apparently we don't get detailed information about the video if we get them in bulk. So what we do is that we use this idea that we get from the video, and we also look for more detailed information by the ID. This is probably not going to work. Yes. But this is very important too. It's not that it's broken, but this is something that you need to keep in mind. Okay, let's go back. So this was rejected. Although, I already got like thousands of videos. So get many was rejected because check your credentials. My credentials are fine. The request cannot be completed because you have exceeded your quota. So you got to keep this in mind that if you're interacting with APIs and I did this only once today. Then they can have various limitations of how many times you can use it per time, I guess. And in this case, it would be 10,000 per day. But that doesn't mean that 10,000 anything, because, for example, searching costs 100, which we are not even using. But I guess just be careful, and you have to be mindful of various rules APIs might have, and the quota. Of course, it would be best if they were just free, but I think currently we can get about 3,000 videos per day for free. So we get the information, and then when we do, we actually put it into Google Sheets, right? Into the desired columns that I wrote before. We are just getting from the JSON the correct field, right? So we have the information over here. We don't need this. So I wrote these fields before myself, right? Just for clarification. It needs to be kind of specific. You don't necessarily want to leave that to AI, but you can, I guess, you can make it part of your automation, I suppose. So we got a lot of videos. So I'm getting the channel title, publish that. This is the videos, the title of the video, view count of the video, like count of the video, comment count of the video, and the duration. We can, no doubt, we might want to change the format of this duration. But the interesting part is just how much stuff we got, right? And currently this does not apply the limitation of get things from last month. So this is just get all the stuff. Just for, I guess, demonstration. And we got a lot of stuff. So the very end would be 3,277, I guess. The title rule doesn't count, so 3,276. Also, you have to keep in mind that although Google Sheets seemingly works right now, it also has a rate limit of 300 read requests per minute. Also, you have to keep in mind that reading one row counts as one request, but also reading 100 rows at the same time also counts as one request. But if you try to write some dodgy code, which you might if you don't know what's up, of trying to read one line, one after another, then you get rate limited for sure. This is not a Google Sheets guide, but also keep in mind that these cells might not be formatted as you would expect. So this one just looks a little dodgy. And what do we have here? So is this a number? It wasn't a number. It was a string. And if you try to, I guess, sort it as a string, then it just looks bad. So very much so, I guess these should be numbers as well. There are also many ways to run workflows, but I suppose the easiest would be that you just, when clicking test workflow, and we're just gonna get rows with that. It runs, and we get the rows. And then you can see, well, I guess the previous node and the outputs we have. But I would personally recommend, especially if you don't know what's up, is that you come and check out n8n workflows. And we have many options here. And we have pretty complex ones as well. So let's check this one out. Real-time Notion, Todoist, two-way sync with Redis. All right. And I can't even see anything, but I guess a lot's going on. But the best part is that we can either copy this template as a JSON and just paste it into our local host, I suppose, local project, or we can import this template into our cloud workspace, which we don't really care about, assuming we just run it locally. And this is where we need to set up our credentials. We can just skip over that. And then we have this project, and we can see this massive project, I guess. We can also just save it too. Not just save it, but download this and use it locally. Yeah, personally, I would say that as the project scales, you probably want to use programming, right? So the strength of n8n would lie in people who don't know how to program. Well, I guess they get to automate things, or possibly if you know how to program, then you get to do things without worrying about the kind of setup. Also, especially if you're starting out or you just really value reliability, I would highly recommend that you make your automation sequential. And so I suppose this could be a good example. It has scheduling and I guess manual trigger, and basically just does things one by one. Therefore, if something doesn't work, then it's super easy to fix. So that's pretty much it. You don't need to code. You can just ask AI for some advice and just drag around boxes.